Good morning, everybody. I decided to start early and see if my little theory that if I start before 11, the live stream opens up effortlessly. And if I start right at 11, it seems to go into a loop and doesn't let me in right away. So I might be throwing a few of you off. So I'm just going to kind of start with a few announcements and then I'll move into some of the dynamics coming up this week, because July is going to heat up. And I say July, but let's just face it, everything's heating up. And we're going to have to be a little bit more intentional about how we choose to process all of this. Good morning, Natalia. Good morning, Michelle. Good to see you. I started a little early with my theory that if I go live early, it opens up effortlessly, and it did, of course. So I'm making a few announcements. First, for those of you that are new to my channel, these readings on Sunday are based on whole sign Western astrology. Teri is a little rogue. That's why I call myself an intuitive astrologer, because I believe the moon is your most influential planet. Emotionally is how we manifest. It's how we take our actions. It's our emotions display our beliefs and our thoughts. And so I'm really think that moon is super important. The next would be your rising and your sun third. So that's where I'm going there. Then I have a special going. I just started it. I was inspired by this extremely emotional Cancer new moon that kicked my butt across town. And I am doing a special. It is for today and tomorrow only. You can book a 45-minute reading with me and get $30 off. So it'll be $60 for a 45-minute reading, where that's normally $90. Payment is required prior to, by midnight, July 4th. I posted this on the community page. So you can look and find all the information on the community page on this channel. And you have until the end of July to have your reading done. So that's one thing. And then the second thing, and this is what I forgot to announce last week as I was like, my second webinar. We're going to look at the planets and the influence of the planets on the South Node, and how that is indicative of your habitual soul's thought process, patterns in the physical experience, and some of the talents and the intuitiveness that you bring into this situation. So you can sign up for that. I believe I have an early bird special going, $19.99 until the 7th. And then after that, it is $29.99. And then it's going to be next Saturday, the 16th. I think that's the 16th. And it's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. And as you can see, I really rehearse all these pitches because I'm so choppy. What a week it's been. And we will not be having Miss Small Wildflowers with us today. She is taking a much deserved day off, and we wish her well and rest and fun and whatever she's doing to celebrate this long weekend. Here in the United States, it's Independence Day. And I think that is going to mean something much different than it may have meant in the past. So you can, to round it out, you can sign up for the webinar until the 7th for $19.99. And then after that, it's $29.99. And then for the next 2 days, July 3rd and 4th until midnight on the 4th, you can purchase a 45-minute reading for the price of a half hour. That's a savings of $30. Forget percentages. Okay, good morning, Dusk. Good morning, Jules. Good morning, Taylor. Juan, it's great to see you. Good morning, Michelle. I said hi to Michelle. Good morning, Stephen and Lauren K. Good morning. Good to see everybody in the room. Okay. All right, let's talk about some things. This last week, I don't know how you guys handled this moon, but it kicked my butt. First of all, I found myself doing exactly what I coach y'all not to do, which is I was reading comments about some of the Supreme Court rulings and people's opinions about it on a certain subject, R versus V. no, W, RVW. And I found myself getting all worked up and all, "Rawr." I didn't act out, but it was all churning internally. And I could feel my compass, my inner self saying, "Move away from the fray, move away from the fray." Remember the laws of attraction. Remember the laws of transmutation. Remember the laws of cause and effect. The next day, July 1st, July 29th. What was the moon was on the 28th? I think the 29th, I had a major meltdown when my landlord hiked my rent up again for the second time in 366 days. And that's significant for me in how I perceived it in the moment. So I want to offer it this way, because that was a Cancer new moon. And we are seeing in all of our lives, like politically, and then it's kind of trickling down through the rings of our own, tree trunk, how it's sort of the man versus the regular guy. And while there's a part of me that wants to kind of go, "Arr!" and go to war, I don't think that's a good way to go. I think this is where I get to actually pull back, connect with the truth of who I am, and then invite spirit to start to support me and give me evidence and signs that my alignment is such that I get to represent the balance of all of this divine disruption. So we're going to look at some of the planets and what's going on. Let's see. Congratulations, Stephen. Long time coming for you to get a job that you feel passionate about. Isn't this wonderful? New moon in the sign of Cancer, representing nurturing of self and children. And here you are getting this job. This is fabulous. Good morning, Cece Pups. Happy Independence Day. Speaking of such, let's look at some of the transits that's going to be going on this week. I think there was a couple of things that I wanted to talk about that were the most significant for everyone. Jupiter is stationing to go retrograde. Where my cheat sheet with my retrograde dates. I believe it's on the 28th of, oh boy, I'm so ill prepared. I'm a dork. Sorry, everybody, forgive me. There it is. The 28th, yes, until November 23rd in Aries. We currently have Saturn retrograde. Chiron is going to go retrograde in Aries on the 19th. Now, these are happening later in the month, but the storm period, the stationing period is happening now. And Neptune is also retrograde, and retrograde in a way that it is like making aspects to Mars and to the other planets that are really kind of deciphering whether we are falling back into illusion or are we ready to step up and be co-creators of our life. I think that's the spiritual aspect of Neptune. If you think about the idea that Neptune rules fantasy, it rules film and photography. What kind of pictures do we want to take of our life right now? So as Jupiter stations, and let's just take Jupiter as representing our beliefs, representing the church, which is very interesting in this dynamic, because this last week we saw headlines that had church and state talking about the schools and children. And I'm so shocked, and I'm so shocked at some of the stuff that's going on right now. Anyway, so this is all, I bring this up because I think we're going to feel a tidal wave of energy coming at us, because everybody that watches this type of material is sensitive to a certain way, a certain degree. And as your sensitivity and your awareness of the imbalance becomes sort of peaking, I don't think it's about trying to stop it as much as how can I be fluid? How can I roll with this and yet set an intention at the same time? Because as Jupiter is stationing, we're going to see tomorrow, Mars is already slowing down as it's going to move. Well, I shouldn't say it's slowing down. As Mars moves into Taurus tomorrow, July 4th, Mars is going to slow down. Apparently, it's not actually going to slow in its timing wise, but being in the Taurus energy, it's going to be more deliberate, stop, a little more cautious. Ideas of security and am I secure and my financial security are going to come into play. And at the same time, Mercury's going to move into Cancer, which is going to slow Mercury down very, very quickly. I believe Mercury is going to be in Cancer kind of in breakneck speed. I think it's only going to be there for a couple of weeks, and then it's going to move into Leo. So when Mercury is in Cancer, I think it's going to bring a large focus on Cancerian things. How are we nurturing our families? Is our property and our homes safe? Are we safe? Do we feel secure? This is all coming into play right now. And I want to offer it this way because the outside world is going to tell you you're not. The outside world is going to remind you about the Saturn and Uranus square coming up. It's going to talk about Uranus, Mars, and the North Node meeting together towards the end of July, which is very, very powerful energy. A lot of voracious, sort of impatient energy in that conjunction. I also want to note that Uranus is going to go retrograde at the end of August. So we're going to start seeing towards the end of July a slowdown again. These slow planets or these generational aspects, they offer us an opportunity to really reflect on how do we want to perpetrate, purport, what is our being energy, and what's the ripple effect that we want to how do I say it? My reactions create a ripple effect. The more conscious I am of my reactions, and then rather than reacting, slowing down to take action, I think, or at least conscious action will be more palatable. What I found too this week, when I was really having this sort of major meltdown on the day after the new moon, at first I thought it was about the rent increase and that, money going out, feeling like no money's coming in. At least the plans I've made don't seem to be bringing the money in expeditiously, etc. And then I stopped for a minute and I thought to myself, am I really, really worried about money? What's this really about? And then I realized that Cancer is a sign of nurturing. And how was I nurturing myself? Because when I feel burdened about money is when I feel like I'm not taking care of myself in a way that allows for my ease. And that's when I long for another person to be in the mix to help ease my burden. And when I examined that thought, I became even more aware of the idea that I wasn't inviting in a loving, supportive relationship in that moment. I was inviting someone to share my burden with me. Well, that's no fun. So I really, really want to offer this because with all of these planets moving around and lurking around, Pluto is probably the one that's, Pluto's behind the scenes, and Pluto's making all these aspects, asking us to dig deeper and deeper into our truth. And if we're willing to be there and just acknowledge it, not judge it, not try to exterminate it, but then try to actually see if I'm authentic with a deeper part of my own intention here. Am I being a criminal to myself, or am I actually giving myself an opportunity to transform and to rise like the phoenix? Because as Chiron goes retrograde, and Jupiter is our beliefs, Saturn's already retrograde. We're going to see Neptune doing its thing because it's only going to move a few degrees over its whole retrograde period. So each time those deliberate degrees of movement backwards are asking us to reflect within the degrees energy. So, and then that Uranus thing, the Uranus, Mars, and the North Node coming together really speak to me of unconscious anger. And as that starts to creep up at the end of this month, I really want to call upon us as a tribe to do our best, even when we're angry, to try to be as conscious about how we show up with that. Because otherwise, we're going to find ourselves in really random situations that get escalated very easily and unexpectedly. And if I look for outside of myself for somebody to have reason or to have some common sense, I don't think we're going to see it right now. So, to quote one of my favorite quotes, and not to be annoying, be the change. Anybody have any interesting things going on with this new moon for them? Anybody have a meltdown like me? All right, well, let's start with our readings. We're going to start with Cancer, as that is the sign of the month, and work our way towards Gemini. Let me see what else I'm wanting to bring up. I think that was it for this week. We'll talk. I'm going to do a separate video on the full moon in Capricorn, which is coming up. Okay, so we're going to start with Cancer. We're going to look at our tarot card and see what is Spirit's advice for you this week. Cancer, allow for the transformation. Allow, it's so interesting that this guy is literally a priest on here. I can't even get over that, to be honest with you. And the king is dead on the ground. Oh my God. We are having a wonderful opportunity to make new choices. And I want to offer this because I believe that as we move forward, we have so much power in our awareness of our focus. And in our focus, I believe it's akin to what maybe some religious people would call the power of prayer. Because prayer is a focus, and it is an energetic, like sort of a beam that you set into the universe. And then the universe cannot help but respond to that. So I want to offer this because I believe that Cancer, as we walk through this month, you are very sensitive, and by nature, you're tend to be wanting to make sure everything is secure and safe. And this is going to be interesting because as Mercury moves into your sign for those 2 weeks, as it zips through, your focus may be very much on how do I make sure everybody in my tribe is safe, that my home is safe, my property is safe, my future is safe. So I want to offer you, when you go through those, or you feel that trepidation, and you may even feel, I had to, I didn't even mean to get caught up, but I felt like I was baited into this one article when it came to R versus W. And I'm really, again, not about making a political statement about the act as much as I think long-term about the ramifications of an unwanted being on this earth, or at least one that feels unwanted and unloved. And I just can't get past that nobody looks down the road. And then I saw this George Carlin thing that he did for like 1973. And it was just amazing how he was like talking about like the contrary things, like on one hand, it's like pro-life, but the benefits while in vitro or while, gestating aren't there. Anyway, it was just a bunch of funny stuff, and how kind of the human tends to think of things and then somehow block out other things. The Jupiter's expansive way of looking at things doesn't seem to happen. So by habit. So I want to take this Jupiter retrograde, and as we're going, it's going to be a while, it's all going to be in Aries. So it's all going to be about, do I take action in a Martian way, or do I take action from a spiritually inspired way? And I know it seems like I'm jawing on, but I think this is the true. Death is transformation, and this is an opportunity that we have that we've never had in history before. And when we connect to thoughts are things, and then we connect that as our greatest device to create balance, then we are in a much more powerful place than we've ever been before on this planet. Okay, so here we go. Cancer, right? Well, I always say it this way: rising moon, sun, and stelliums, but I really mean moon, rising, sun, and stelliums. Oh, Stephen. Oh, I don't want to say, oh, good, you had a meltdown, but it is really a very sensitive time. And it shocks me sometimes because I have 0 planets in Cancer, and my moon is in Taurus. So I don't really see a lot of, Cancerian off the cuff stuff in my chart, but it's also I see So, all right. Let's say Cancer, our first angel is Francesca. The second is Isaiah. The third is Bridget. And the final is Daniel. So is the United States, Stephen. 8th house Cancer stellium. Wow. These are transformational times, to say the least. All right, Cancer, what will you visualize right now? Because worry, focus on the dark side, is going to block your ability to really see a new result. You cannot focus on a problem and find the solution. And if you watch things like the Men That Built America, you'll see that while they all were fraught with challenges, they had a way of going, okay, here's the challenge, and then immediately going, all right, I can get this research, da 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 da. If I screw this guy over, I'll get that, blah blah blah. I'm not saying everybody screwed everyone over, but you know what I'm saying. Hey, DJ, good to see you in the room. So be mindful, because sometimes we get a little bit stuck in our pride. No, look at my problem. No, look at my problem. No, look at the death and destruction. I'm tired of all of this transformation. I don't want it anymore. I'm exhausted. And Isaiah is saying it's time to give birth to the intuitive part of you now, Cancer. It's time to get out of your eyeballs and into your heart and your intuition. And when I say your intuition, I really believe that this is like any person who has an animal, except maybe a fish, because I don't know fish, but maybe even fish respond. But if you have an animal, you know you've created a language with that animal that supersedes your English or whatever human language you speak. So I feel like this is a really good time for you to allow, as we walk through a really, really big time of transformation for us all. And we're all going to feel, a sense of vulnerability to our security. It's rampant right now. So as you say to spirit, I'm scared. I'm straight up scared. My little crab wants to go hide underneath that nice little rock until everything comes out, or plays out, I should say. And I feel like, okay, what if Cancer takes a leadership position, because that's also what the stag represents, about is negativity, is the dark side working for me or against me? Because sometimes it's working for me. Because the dark side gives me an opportunity to walk through something again and purport a new energy. Thank you, Lauren K. I have a lot of fun with my nails lately. And this is where I start to engage spirit. And I start to say, okay, you're protecting me because I'm going to represent something new and different for this, a new way of being on this planet. And there we see Bridget is asking Cancer to look deeper and deeper into that. We're transforming. Pluto is really giving us an opportunity. I got to tell you, in a couple years from now, we are going to find Neptune. I think it's in 2025. Neptune is going to go 0 degrees Aries. And there's some planetary activity that's coming up that's very akin to the events that happened in 1861. And while those were not considered fun times by any means, there was a liberation and a beginning of a balancing. And that balancing never really got down to the nitty-gritty Plutonian levels of balancing. So that's what's happening now. So Cancer, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, I want you to kind of give yourself an opportunity to really marry yourself to your intuition, to your connection, to your divine source, whatever you want to call it, because you may be edging God out because of all of the challenging transformational dynamics. And if you get on a loop of, oh my God, this is bad, that's bad. And it's easy to do. I spent days, I'm still feel like I'm like Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde in my head, because as I've gone through this challenge, I've also found remedy, but I'm not finding complete comfort in the remedy. I'm not being able to take it in the way I normally can. And I think that's because there's this sort of weird fog in between everything. And I kind of want to go Neptune. Thank you, Shelley. Neptune kind of creating this fog that won't even let me completely absorb myself in the feeling of I can rise during dark times. So this is where we really get close to spirit. And rather than saying, I'm trying to be a perfect divine being, say, Spirit, help me to be the most fabulously flawed human I can be, and remember my divine source as I transmute. And I see that these dark times, and I can't help but say it that way, offer me opportunity to be of light. Okay. For those of you that are back after a long time, or you are new to my Sunday show, I have started with the sign of the month. So we're in Cancer right now. So I'm going to start with Cancer for the Cancer season, and then we'll go on to the Leo season, etc., etc. I do it because I just have this Libra sun that wants fairness and harmony all the time, while my Aries rising wants to go lob everybody's head off who isn't being harmonious. This is what I'm talking about. It's kind of funny. All right. I don't know, maybe I'm not as funny as I think I am. Okay. So here we go. We're on to our Leos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. This is the Page of Pentacles. Now, I want to offer this because the Page of Pentacles is the infusion of money. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that. Small Wildflowers has the day off, so we don't have anybody managing the room. Page of Pentacles. Now, this is interesting to me because the pages represent an innocent energy with the suit. This is going to be the material. So I feel as if while we're looking at what's happening around the world here, I feel as if that Page of Pentacles is asking Leo in some ways to be grounded. I don't even know if I want to put it in money, but to actually look up and whatever your foot, whatever this, because this could be Taurus, it could be Capricorn, and it could be my brain, Taurus, Capricorn. I can't. My brain is just dead right now. Taurus, Capricorn, and where's my other earth sign? Oh my God, my brain is literally dead. It's Virgo, right? Okay, thank you. It started to come out of my mouth, and then I thought Virgo, mutable, blah, blah. Oh, you guys, I'm telling you. All right, because this is what I want to say. I feel as if there's a hopeful energy to this. And I feel as if it's like not about thinking that the money is here right now, but that the money, whatever you want to bring into the material, is on its way. And your job, just like we were talking about with Cancer, is to keep your eye on the prize and not get caught up in anything that's happening down here. Okay. Oh, you're a Virgo stellium. Oh, so is Juan. You guys are alike that way. I like me my earth signs. I got to tell you, you know I love my Cappies. I'm falling in love with Coach Boone, aka Saturn. I'm trying to embrace Pluto, and that's what I was doing this week, because when I was having my meltdown, I just kept saying to Pluto, because it's squaring my ascendant and it's squaring my Mars. I've got Saturn hovering over my Chiron, and I'm like, all right. I'm brave. What am I missing somewhere? You know, where's this real emotion coming from? And it really was having this feeling of being sort of having to bear everything by myself. Now I'm going to go back to Leo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. As you focus on what you want to birth in the material, remember that as above, so below. So as you keep your sight up, I think, and this is what I want to say, it's not about trying to be positive in the face of negativity. It's more like the idea of the men that built America, and I'm not going to focus on the problem. I'm going to focus on a personal solution for me to align my vibration so that then I can be a ripple effect out into the world. All right, let's see. Leo, our first angel is Bridget, looking deeper into a situation. The second is Indriel, the light worker. The third is Ray. And the final is Archangel Michael. Protection and courage is required somewhere. And you know, Leo rules courage. I know we think of Aries as doing that, but Leo rules, Leo is the king of the zodiac. King and queen, let me put it that way. Bridget is asking Leo to look deeper into their fears and if they're gripping their fears. Indriel is asking you to allow for an epiphany that will let you shed a skin. ray is combined with the deeper truth of what you know about yourself. And Archangel Michael is being joined by the Lady of the Lake, which is now kind of piggybacking and doubling down on the idea of courage and strength and self-respect. And let me kind of tell it this way, because I really believe that if we are to go into any type of WAR situation, that rather than have it be what we're experiencing in other parts of the world, I think here we have an opportunity to really apply the laws of the universe. You know, I did a video on them. There are 12 of them, but I'm gonna focus on the idea of cause and effect. You know, that everything vibrates at a certain rate. And as we choose to vibrate at such a level of awareness, it insulates us on many levels from a physically scary situation. So Leo, it's about stepping up and really looking at your fears and how much time you spend focused on your fears, or if you're willing to not rise above them. I hate that saying, and it just came out of my mouth. It's about turning it into a tool. Because this week, when I was looking at my own fears, I was pushing myself down the line with a shopping cart, by the way. And I was the most unvaluable person in the world, and nobody would ever book a session again. And, you know, I threw myself under the bus. And I'm like, is that really working? Because what I do know is that I've been building a dynamic of people that resonate with me. And why would they abandon me or anything else when we're talking together to support each other? So Leo, look deeper into what your fears are happening. I don't know if they're actually real. And if you keep your sights up with spirit about what you need in the material world, you'll start to have epiphanies that will bring in knowledge. And I think that knowledge is that your real truth is your connection to spirit. You know, I saw somebody make a post on Facebook. I think it was on Astrolada, and they said, I don't believe in free will anymore. Look at they said something like, if you look at the transits, it's all right there. And I thought to myself, they were right and wrong at the exact same time. Because yes, the transits are there, but when we give into the dark side of these planets, and everybody who talks, I mean, poor Saturn. Every single dang astrologer just makes Saturn the most depressing, repressive. Aries, I mean, Mars is like just a warrior all the time. Nobody talks about the transformed version of these planets, what the material can bring in. And that's what we're going to do here. So when we look at Mars now, we're looking at Archangel Michael asking you to have the courage to look at the truth of your own co-creation and your focus. Because when I focus in on lack, and I see myself get triggered, right? And then I'll tell you, you know, when I tell you guys these stories, I feel like I don't tell them just because I want to talk about my life. I feel like sometimes people perceive me as really confident, like I can get everything done that I put my mind to. And you know what? That's true. But do I have my major dips and my major moments of fear and not knowing if I'm valuable or wondering how I'm going to, you know, manage old age? Yes. And Spirit said to me, Teri, sometimes people seeing you in a compromised place helps them step out of their compromised place. So I was finding wisdom in my misery all week long. It wasn't fun, but it was gratifying. So, Leo, here we go. Look deeper into your fears, because those fears may be the very recipe for what can send you into a place of great leadership for yourself, because your connection to spirit will give you ideas over and over again. And this is the connection. Your power lies. Leo is ruled by the color gold and yellow. Your power lies in your truth and your connection to spirit, and then having the divine life, you know, being in such a connection with Archangel Michael and the archangels that watch over you, and being courageous to really step into your truth. And the truth is layered. So don't try to land on one thing. Okay, here we go. On to our Virgos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, and that beautiful earth sign that I just blanked out on. All right, I'm going to take a quick sip of my tea. Oh, this is beautiful. Virgo, looky, money, 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 money. Hard work is, here's that little snail, which I just love. When I was a little girl, I used to draw snails all the time. And when I think of a snail, I kind of think of Saturn and the idea of long-term efforts for rewards. The Nine of Pentacles is a money card. It's self-made money. I feel as if for this week, it's very Venusian as well. We see a lot of that sort of Venus type sign on the garb. And I want to offer it this way, because as we walk through this week, we're heading towards that full moon in Capricorn, and we're heading towards Chiron going retrograde in Aries. And I feel as if maybe there's an opportunity for Virgo to assess what they have built, and then in some ways to feel, I don't know. I guess I want to say I feel proud when I look at this, because I feel like I've learned how to work with the system a little bit. And I feel like this is more than employment. It feels almost like when I look at this nine, and when we'll see more with the other cards, but there are grapes behind it. There's bounty at the feet. And I feel like maybe this is the higher vibration of Virgo, where you have released what has enslaved you mentally and allowed yourself to open up to receive more abundance. Somebody made a comment last week after the live, and saying something about Brian talking about Pluto always as the god of hell. And I kind of agreed with, I like Pluto. I mean, don't get me wrong, Pluto's challenging. But I started to think, who's the real god of hell in the zodiac? And I'm going to be a little crazy right now, but I think it's Mercury. Because Mercury rules what we think, what we speak, what we talk about, what we gossip about, Gladys Kravitz. And I think that we get stuck in the loop of our head, and we get stuck in this idea. And then that idea starts to loop around, and then it kicks in the laws of attraction. And then we think that things are happening to us. So I'm really starting to think about Mercury now. Now let's talk about Mercury going into Cancer for 2 weeks, rapid pace. You are ruled by Mercury, Virgo. So is this an opportunity for you to really take everything you've learned in your mercurial mind? Maybe this isn't even about money, but it's about what you've amassed in the way of wisdom and knowledge. And rather than thinking that you're going to release any of your fears, you're working with them. There are those moments when you feel fear. Could be the moment when Spirit is alerting you that you're going back into an old habit or an old thought habit of some kind. Let's look and see what this is directed, where this is directed. I'm going to sound a little crazy, but Mercury, when I think about it, and I think about some of my clients and they get stuck in the yeah, but, you talk in about like the possibilities, and then that loop. And again, the loop is literally like a branding of a cow. Once you've experienced the same thought process enough, it's going to be sort of a natural default. And it's going to take intentional consciousness to acknowledge that habitual thought and then change lanes. All right. Woo. Let's see where we're going here. Because when I think about the idea of the aspect that Mars and Mercury are going to make in the next couple of weeks, I feel like with Mars moving into Taurus and Mercury moving into Cancer, there's going to be a big focus on safety in home and feeling secure within our home. I know that's exactly what my issue was this last week. First angel is Teresa. That's about worry. The second is Indriel. The third is Francesca. And the final is Rosetta. So Virgo also rules healthcare, and I want to offer this because I feel as if for your own sense of well-being, don't let the other people get you riled up. Kind of like if you even have loved ones that differ from what you think or can be disruptive. I think maybe that might be something going on there, because Teresa talks about worry, but it also talks about worry about other people. There's movement joining Teresa. Indrio, the light worker, is being joined by the frog. Francesca is being joined by the deer. And Rosetta is being joined by the disruption card. Very interesting. I'm not of childbearing years anymore, so I don't often think about children in that way. But for some reason, I'm kind of getting this feeling that Virgo might also, those of you that are of childbearing years are still raising your children. There may be some concerns about all the things we're seeing in this on these platforms. I kind of go to the idea of the schools and church and state, et cetera, because I want to offer it this way. I feel like what Spirit is saying is that it's a time maybe to tuck in a little bit for Virgo, in the sense of not letting yourself get submerged by the momentary, Jupiter's stationing. So our beliefs are going to come into play, and religious beliefs. And these can be polarizing dynamics in a sign that is willing to go to war. Okay. Because I think you'll find more relief about almost everything, Virgo, including that mercurial mind that might make you feel a sense of duty to go into the fray to help fix things. And I think the movement will come when you just focus in on yourself and don't worry about the outside world, because I think that Spirit wants to use your practicality and dependability and apparent earthboundness to actually bring solace to not only yourself, but to those around you. Because the frog is about a cleaning of the house. The house is the mind. The mind is Mercury. And now we have Indrio, the light worker, and I just see this epiphany. So I think that there's the potential that as Virgo, which normally would in some ways be examining and processing the issue in order to find a solution, now the surrender of it, because what I know is that I, as one little energy, can't fight this big thing, but what I can do is align and see, am I getting sucked into the negativity, or am I representing a neutral energy? Because there is the deer. And I think this really is about gentleness and diplomacy. It's a number 22, which to me is in sort of a cooperation with being able to see my fears or see things happening, letting them flow out, because I don't have any direct influence over them. But what I do have is influence over myself, and being able to align myself to feel like Spirit is watching over me. And when I connect with them in a way, I get to represent a balance, because Rosetta is about teaching and children. There is disruption, which had me a little bit concerned at first, Virgo, but then I pulled the eagle. And I think that this is about, I honestly kind of feel like this is a bigger picture. I feel like as you represent for yourself this sort of tenacity to stay aligned to what you have influence over, not only helps yourself, but then helps within the ripple effect, because without divine disruption, we cannot make a choice to stand in integrity and in connection to source energy. I absolutely believe that this universe is a computer. Like, literally, I think it somehow picks up on our thoughts go into the database, and then depending upon how much we think about it, it starts to create this speed, right? Vroom, vroom, vroom. And then the human goes, that happened to me. That happens to me all the time. Victim, victim, victim. But the awareness that my focus inadvertently is in avoiding that, then I can start to shift a little bit. When I've lived in this place for a long time, and they've never raised the rent 2 years in a row, and so significantly. Okay. Like, literally, it feels like they've raised the rent it feels like they've almost doubled it, the way this has happened. So the way I'm putting it is like, my initial reaction was panic. My initial reaction was, oh my God, everything's drying up. And I freaked out. I'm not going to say I didn't. And then I stopped for just a minute with these big, swollen, crying red eyes. And I looked around and I said, do I really feel like I'm going to be evicted? Do I really feel that coming at me? I'm like, no. And I'll tell you, the whole idea of the South Node going through Scorpio, the planet, the house of death and rebirth. And when this happened last time, I had a little bit of a challenge with home and hearth. And then I thought, no, this is an opportunity to walk through the same storm with better equipment, with more defined and refined equipment. It's like the first time I went camping, I just ran to Target and got myself a tent. And now I'm like, oh, I know what it's like to go camping. I'm going to make it a little bit more comfortable. And I have to, and I get to, because I hate that, remember this over and over and over again, because I really think that this will have a ripple effect. And not only will it teach others how I have been able to shift my mind, I think it will teach myself and my inner child more trust. Okay. Let's go on to our Libras. Your tarot card, my dear Libras, is the Knight of Cups. All right, here we go. Libra. This is interesting to me because there's I see the little red fishies. And when I see them as red, I see them as the base chakra. And I want to offer this too, because last week, I think I got this cup too. And I kept seeing like the mercurial, the wings on the helmet and the wings on the feet. And then the cup looks kind of empty to me. It doesn't look really full, but he doesn't seem stressed about it. So I want to offer this. I feel as if Libra, this Knight of Cup, is asking you to be the messenger of compassion, the messenger of harmony, not marriage partners and this and that, but to be flowy and fluid as you swim through these dynamics. And we're in the season of Cancer. And how can you offer your cup of diplomacy? Let's see. I know, gosh, my Libra sun and my Aries rising have been just having like dueling conversations, because one of them wants to just do, like, our war, you done me wrong. And then the other one's like, that's not going to get you anywhere. Haven't you learned that already? I'm like, yes, I've learned it. And then this little hothead that, I live across from this hotel, and there's this kid, surfer dude. He walks around like he's all chill, but he's a hothead, right? And whenever he gets in an argument with somebody, he gets right up in their face. And the other day, while I was having my war between my Aries and Libra, he got all bunched up and got in a fight with one of his coworkers right down beneath me. And I watched him get all, and then he was like the perfect muse for me not to want to do that. Wasn't productive. All right, let's see what this Libra Knight of Cups is about. Teresa, the card of worry and other people. There's Xana, the angel of protection. There's Crystal, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. And there's Yvonne, the angel of vulnerability. Yes, it does. Taurus rules the voice and speaking. And I think sometimes some of the great, not necessarily just a singing voice, but we've assigned orators to Mercury, but I think Taurus might be a really wonderful orator, be able to do great speeches and really talk about things that are impassioned. Anyway, Teresa is being joined by the spider Libra. Xana is being joined by the serpent. Crystal's being joined by the novice, and Yvonne is being joined by the fear card. Okay. I think this is so me, Libra sun, because my real name is Teresa, spelled exactly like this. I go by Teri because Teresa was the one who was persecuted as a child. And there's the spider. If this isn't the network of the world right now, I feel like this is time for Libra to start to look, even though the cup feels empty, then we have all this opportunity to fill the cup. So don't worry about the network, the world, the big spider web that is, because we are all being protected as we, as a human race, shed a skin that has not served any of us. And our job is to have faith and hope as we begin this new venture of conscious co-creation, and of conscious co-creation to the point where I'm not looking at you and expecting you to think like me, but rather I'm celebrating our differences, because this is about being vulnerable to the fear of the world right now and to face everything and rise. Thank you very much to my very wonderful client who gave me that acronym. I also think it's false evidence appearing real, and that might be even more poignant in this moment, because as I have studied history, and that's been, the United States has its own nodal structure. The United States has its own wound. The United States has its own stellium in Cancer. So when I look at that and I look at it as a collective energy that too is growing and evolving, then I know that this time in history, I've chosen to be here to be part of a collective, to rather than point fingers to my brother and say, you're wrong, I'm going to stand in my law of attraction, stand in my focus of, if I want to experience peace and harmony, then I get to be peace and harmony. And I'm telling you, this feels like, and the world could go to hell in a handbag, but your little part of the world, your family, your neighborhood, will not experience all that disruption, because the point of attraction over here is so strong in this willingness not to worry about other people, but to just be harmonious. You're a shit stir, you're a pot stir, so I'm going to step away from you rather than trying to push balance onto you. I'm just going to step out. And then I'm going to be feeling really strong about how I walk through this situation versus how everybody else is, because you will absolutely be protected as we shed a new skin. I'm really, really thinking that this is the ascension that everyone's been talking about since I can remember. And, I think people initially thought we're literally going to be on the stairway to heaven. No, the ascension is awareness of a thought. A thought is a thing becomes material. And what do I want to think about? Okay. Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Let's see. Ooh. Okay. So Scorpio's got a little bit of stuff going on with that south node. And sometimes it's not easy, I'm going to say. So here we have a card, the 10 of cups. I wish it was the 10 of cups. The 10 of swords. This is really hard. I'm not going to say it isn't. I'm not going to pretend that it's easy, but it's over dramatic. And I think of all swords as the thought. I remember when I was learning tarot, they would talk about strife and struggle and, like, oh God, when the sword shows up, things are happening to you. And then there I go studying all of my little this and little that. And I start to realize, oh, nothing's happening to you. Your thought process is in hyperdrive. Your fear, your trepidation, Pluto's got you, Scorpio, and maybe by the chimichangas, because you may not be able to get out of this dark place. The sky in this card is solid, not a lot of room. And, it's weird because when you look at it, the colors that they've chosen to, you go from really black skies to sort of gray skies to yellow skies. Power, your power chakra. And what's going to happen, it's when you realize that these mountains that you've been killed in front of are their wisdom here. Look at the emotional body here in the middle. I think that this is about Scorpio going a little too dark and Plutonian right now. And if indeed you are, let's say you're not even a Scorpio, but you've got some Pluto influence, but Scorpio overall, because when I'm going there, I'm thinking, oh boy, okay, so we are looking at, for my early Scorpios, we're looking at Pluto starting to make a square to your sun or your moon or your rising, depending upon where you are, as it's floating around at 27 degrees. So as things start to build up, and this is what else I want to say for my Scorpio, in your rich depth of your intuition, because I believe you are super, super intuitive. And the challenging dynamic is sometimes that intuition is because you're trying to figure out the landscape and control anything that may get out of control. Okay. But I think this is a time to start to transform that and dig deeper into what am I pretending not to know? Because that is what Pluto has said to me recently. I'm here to say to you, what are you pretending not to know about the depth of you giving up your power to others? So let's look and see what the angel cards have to say. Wow. Lauren K, 29 degree Scorpio moon. Okay, so this is what I want to say about that. And 1111, that is very powerful, because to me, your soul is in a master stage there. I believe those last like 27, 20, no, I shouldn't say 27. Yeah, no, 28 and 29, and then the 0 degree for me and the 1 degree are all that sort of mastering of one sign and its energy as I move and take that mastery into the next sign. So you may really be called upon, rather than being suspicious and kind of creeped out by people and thinking, oh, it's too dark, to dig deeper into the psychology of why people do what they do. And then if they are dark or not aligned to you, learning how to move away versus trying to fix it and not turning on yourself in the meantime. "29 degrees Leo" is also a little unnerving, because that's on Regulus. And that can be a real double-edged sword, because with the mastery of the 29th degree of Leo, you know, you rule riches, but you can also be a little bit, oh, Lauren K, you're in a perfect job. That's perfect. Fabulous. Okay, so let's go. Scorpio, we are focused in on protection. Xana is the angel of protection, so you don't need to worry about this as much as you are worrying. If you are, and then you could be worrying about the state of the world. I know it. I am. Okay, so we have Xana, the angel of protection, Bridget asking you to look deeper, Archangel Raphael is offering a healing, which I think is really balance. And then we have Daniel. There's a little bit of history going on here. Let's see what that's about. Lucy Rose, are you talking about Regulus when you say blinded and go broke? Because I think there's that possible. Well, moon swinging Scorpio, I think, is when they're swinging, is when they're trying to believe other people that are not really telling them the truth, because they're somehow in fear, and the other people may either provide money, be your marriage partner, provide a sense of security, but you got to trust your inner knowing, darling. Okay, the water fairy is coming up with Xana. Bridget is coming up with, the fear card is coming up with Bridget. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the dog. And Daniel's being joined by the fire fairy. Okay, I'm going to say it. I think this is about relationships somehow for Scorpio. Not every Scorpio, but for some reason I get this feeling that there may have been some dramatic things going on. And if some of you are of a certain age, and I'm not saying that when you're older you don't enjoy romance, but when you enjoy romance when you're younger, it's just different. It's just different. So if you're of years, let's say you're under 50 for now, and I don't know why I'm throwing it out that way, you may really be feeling a sense of, where's my person? Why isn't my relationship aligned? I want to be in a really connected relationship, because when I look at the water fairy and Xana saying you're being protected, if for some reason Pluto's blown something up for you, and it may not have been really aligned to the truth of your happiness and really was more dramatic than it needed to be, or at least it made you feel in a place where you were constantly feeling maybe stabbed at or feeling depleted, because in the opportunity or the obstacle is Bridget and the fear card. And it makes me wonder if sometimes people don't start partnerships based on fear. Like, I'm afraid I'm getting old. I'm afraid my eggs are dying. Let's, commingle. Because I think what if any sign on this, in this zodiac, wants to be loved at a depth, like see me, feel me, touch me. It's the whole Kama Sutra, and I love that. I don't know why I'm so fascinated by the dark side because I don't see the dark always. I see the light within the dark, because Scorpio, here's Daniel, the angel of marriage, and here's the fire fairy, creative action and optimism. And I want to offer this because Daniel is usually about your story. And if your story is overly dramatic in relationships, then it's your job at this moment to allow that to transform. This is a 10. So this is about thought again. And I feel like Xana might be protecting your heart from unfortunately or inadvertently picking and staying with somebody who would not be deep enough, or I don't want to say deep enough, that doesn't seem fair, but to be aligned enough to your depth for the long term. So as we walk through this next week, and Jupiter is, getting more, standing more still and what are my beliefs? And Mars is your co-ruler. So as Mars is heading out of Aries and into Taurus, it may kind of on some subliminal level make you really think about and get a little frustrated about how you are being perceived in relationships. And I think this is your job, not to go back in and buy other people's perception, but to liberate yourself from an old story. And I want to offer this too, because when I looked at Xana, I just kept seeing the crystal over her heart. And I think that's what Pluto's asking us all to do. Come from a deeper level of our heart. And the difficult side of Scorpio is when I ignore my heart, then I commingle my money, my funds, and my body with somebody who has power over me, and not because they love me. Okay, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. Oh, wow. Look at all the 10s you have, Lauren K. Look at all the numbers that go down to a 1 or an 11. So focus on your thought, knowing your thought. You can move mountains. I'm telling you. Even before I knew about, really cognated the laws of attraction, my friend Paul used to say to me, Teresa, can you tell I don't like being called Teresa? Teresa. He'd be like, you think of something and you just make it happen. I'm like, really? How come I don't have more money? He'd be like, I don't know. All right, here we go. Here's Saggy. Oh, the Empress. I love this. The Empress is a very abundant energy, and she's very calm and serene in her abundance. She understands the ebb and the flow and sits with her nice little pillow behind her, feeling all like, ooh, yay, it's all good. It's all good, baby. All right, let's see where we're going to feel that abundance. And it's interesting because for the first time I thought, oh, she looks like the Statue of Liberty holding that thing up a little bit. And I think maybe that's, when I think about it, I want Sagittarius to think liberty and justice for all, including you. And maybe it's time for you to receive some bounty. This month is going to get very, very hot. The astro weather is going to get very hot. A lot of wounds are going to be triggered, but at the same time, those wounds have gifts if we're willing to excavate deep. Why limit home and money? Why not just have it everywhere, honey? Let's just have money dropping out of the air. I like that idea. Did I say rising? I should. Moon, rising, sun, and stelliums. And we are on Sagittarius right now. We've got the Empress. The wheat is bounty. Venus is fertility. Things are happening. We've got all green growth in the background. Okay. Grace and Antoinette is our first angel. The second is Omega. The third is Adriana. And the final is Maya. Sometimes I get really frustrated with myself because every week I come on and we talk about this stuff. And I honestly think Spirit is working through me. I think Abraham is working through me. I feel blessed for that. And then I go into my own human body and I get so frustrated that I know it here and I can't always do it 100% out there in the world. I'm wondering if maybe Sagittarius might be having a little of that going on right now. Let's see. Because the Empress could be, The Empress, while it refers to bounty, we want to know that we're letting the bounty in. So we have Grace and Antoinette being joined by the High Priestess. Omega is being joined by the Movement card. Adriana is being joined by the Owl. And Maya is being joined by the Cow and Abundance. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. Okay. I want to offer this to you guys because there are a lot of things gestating right now. Okay. And when I say gestating, I mean that we can see the baby growing on some level, but it's not ready to be birthed yet. Because Grace and Antoinette is a card of compassion. And then there's the High Priestess. And lately when I see the High Priestess, I'll be honest with you, her boobs feel like they just stick out to me so big. And I feel like this is really a metaphor for the feminine, a metaphor for the production of milk and nourishment through milk. And it's in some ways my job right now to sort of sit in my connection, have compassion in my connection with spirit as we're starting to bring in more bounty. And I want to offer this way. Because as a tribe, as you are aware of your focus and you see people around you that are really in lack and scarcity, and you don't necessarily jump on the bandwagon with them, you get to sort of have compassion for yourself as they don't understand how you aren't affected by any of this. Okay. Yeah, she's perky, isn't she? So I think that Omega is ushering in victory, and there is going to be movement. And part of it, here's the angel's advice. That's Adriana leading you to the answers to your prayers. And then there's the Owl. And I really think like this is an opportunity to be able to see the wisdom of the duality of the planet, the contrast on the planet. If we really, really want to experience empowerment, we wouldn't want a static, oh, everything's happy-go-lucky. There's no point in incarnating to that. We kind of want to do this, right? So because it's going down and then pulling myself back up, that gives me that feeling of powerful creation and of constant flow. And knowing that my alignment doesn't have to be perfect all the time. That sometimes when I'm off of alignment, that I'm actually being of service to others because they watch me persevere through. Because Sagittarius, here's schooling and education. And Stephen, I can't help but think that your new position is a position of teacher as well. And here's abundance. Here is nourishment, asking and receiving. And what is our High Priestess offering us? Nourishment. As we come from our hearts, as we come from the place that is most viable to manifest is in our ability to receive, not always about pushing out. So I think that's very powerful for Sagittarius this week. And let's go on to our Capricorns. Oh, absolutely. And I think it is an electromagnetic panel for both men and women. I think that we're all electromagnetic, really. And I was talking to Spirit this morning because I'm like, I have these crazy concerns, like, oh, are we going to inadvertently blow the planet up kind of things, And Spirit said to me that throughout the universe, there are plenty of physical experiences to have, both within the earth plane and out. So while humans may think that they're all powerful to detonate this planet and to turn it into rubble, they're not. So we can get scared, but Spirit is holding a much bigger intention for all of this. All right, here we go. Capricorn, your tarot card this week is the Seven of Swords. And I think this is really powerful, okay? Because Capricorn, in your most challenging dynamic, you rule fear. You get scared and you do what you're supposed to do. You don't discern whether that is actually like balance sometimes. And I feel like as I talk to Saturn, and I do talk to these planets like they're people, Saturn keeps saying, yes, I have some bad habits. I can get a little bit repressive. I can get a little bit depressive, but I also am doing my best to transform and to co-create with Uranus a liberated experience. I started thinking that, the two ringed planets are in Aquarius. Now, I know we're on Capricorn. Just bear with me for a second here. Because as Saturn's rings go this way, there's not enough room for the two of them to be spinning like this. They'd be banging into each other. So Uranus is like, I'll do this. And what we are is in somehow cooperation. And I don't know why I want to say it that way, but I believe that Saturn is saying to Uranus, you don't need to be a hothead. You don't need to electrocute me. Just marry yourself to that innovative version. And together we will rewrite the structure to support that. So here is Capricorn. I think it's time to go your own way a little bit. I think it's time to use these swords as your thoughts. There are 5 of them, which says a little bit of independence from the man and walk away from, maybe the herd, what I want to put, the established structure, and give yourself permission for a little bit of a liberation. Lauren, remind me, and I'll tell you in between when I get done with Capricorn, because the people in the playback, I want to be mindful of them. Okay. Now I want to offer this too, because a lot of people are hearing me. I'm kind of on a little Coach Boone kick with Capricorn and Saturn. Okay. Because what I loved so much about that movie was the moments when we saw Coach Boone show his vulnerability to himself, like when he's throwing up in the handball courts before the game. And yet he wouldn't let the fear get to him. He just kept kind of putting this sort of goat, like, I'm not going to look. I'm just going to keep staying ahead, move towards the goal. And when I move towards the goal, even though I know the fears are there, I am contributing to the momentum of the win. Hi, Melissa. Welcome to the room. All right, Capricorn. Joining the 7 of Swords is dun, 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 dun. Ray. Then we have Bethany. Then we have Merlina. And then we have Opal. So, Saturn, in how everybody talks, the government, restrictive, all true, can be challenging, can be, I don't care how you feel, just get it done. But, what if Saturn is saying, what, I'm not so sure I want to do that anymore. What if Saturn is saying, I think if I am almost like, how do I want to phrase it? I'm tenacious in my connection with spirit. Even when I don't feel like I want to connect with spirit, I know that sitting in that meditation is actually not just good for me, but good for everyone I will touch. Because Ray is being joined by the letting go card, which is fear. Bethany's being joined by the communications card. Merlin is being joined by the cat. And Opal's being joined by the high priestess. Here we go again. Okay, so this is where I really think that Coach Boone loved those boys. I believe that Coach Boone saw them as individuals, and he wanted to create a team of people who supported each other for the common good. And I know there's the racial issue going on at the time. It's a true story. And yet the beauty of the movie is we watched that color disappear and we watched character replace it. Coach Boone is the main character Denzel Washington plays in the movie Remember the Titans. And I did a video about Saturn and I called Saturn Coach Boone, and it couldn't be a better representation of the planet. Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, your connection to spirit, your willingness to be tenacious and be very goat-like in connecting again and again will help you rewrite your fears. And this will not be about letting them go, but rather building upon them. The double 44, Saturn wants to see things built in the material world. And part of that is going your own way now and redefining the rules of your own personal government. Because here is self-care and the communications card. And while I know that Saturn wants to take care of, the rules, the regulations that have been established, do they really serve the individual? And because as we serve the individual, we actually serve the collective more succinctly. Because here, what I see is a new sense of independence. And while Merlina can represent confusion and indecision, I think that's only because Saturn and Capricorn is still trying to figure out how to take care of themselves in a balanced way and still feel good about the rules. I have Saturn in the 10th house. There's certain rules of engagement that I just think I like them. And I'm a person who's timely. I don't like to be late. I don't like to be rude to other people, but some people don't do that. And so the point I'm trying to get is we're starting to rewrite our rules. And as we rewrite the rules for ourselves and we recognize these are my rules for me, then we're going to be a little less oppressive to others as they write rules for themselves. And rather than seeing people throwing things at each other and villainizing each other for their beliefs, we're going to start to see this a cooperation within that allows us to come together in a more productive way. So this is where I'm going with this, because this ends with the High Priestess and Opal. And what I see is Master Chef Junior. Okay. All those little kids are competing to win the prize, and yet they are all so supportive of each other. They hug each other, they help each other, and they worry about the competition later. And so I believe that not only are we going to start rewriting bigger structures than I'm talking about, things pertaining to our children now, but now Capricorn, trusting a childlike innocence and your connection to spirit is now helping you as Saturn put in strong structure that will support an uplifted and empowered version of the individual versus the oppressive and erosive structures that we have lived by for thousands of years. So allow yourself this particular week as we walk towards your full moon in Capricorn, and we see some of the dynamics illuminating some indiscrepancies, some challenging dynamics outside of us. I feel as if you allow your thoughts to go in your direction, you will serve a great benefit to those around you in leadership. All right, let's go on to our Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I started with Cancer, guys, so we'll be ending with Gemini. Got little ways to go here. Oh, I love these Master Chef Junior shows, and even the adult ones, but the little ones, I think we could learn so much from them. They're so brilliant. I was in love with Ivy in this last season with her little 8-year-old body on that little stool, you know, and her little pearls and her beret. So cute. Okay. Aquarius, the world is here for you. Now, this is a card of reward. This is a card of, in some ways, being vulnerable to the reward. And I want to offer it this way because here we see so many elements protecting us. We see courage and gentility, and we see stability here. And we see, in some ways, we see the human experience, you know, the compassion of others, and I believe the angelic realm. So I really love this. And I want to offer, because the world to me is where the Fool has gone through, you know, all of I think the World is the last card, as I recall. I'm trying to think, maybe Judgment's not the 20th card. So I feel like this is where, you know, you've learned the ebb and the flow of the human experience, the Fool's journey into the empowerment of the dip, the empowerment of the dark, the empowerment of the challenge. And in doing so, you can garnish the reward. Oh, Lauren K. So your husband is an Aquarius sun and Aquarius moon. Very, very interesting. I bet Saturn's having a field day with him right now. Oh my gosh, 8 years old. I got to tell you, her vocabulary, her way of expressing herself was fab. I mean, oh my goodness, I'm telling you, love those shows. I want to offer this because I have my Chiron in Aquarius, and I've been really feeling, you know, a little bit of that going on. And I want to say this: I don't believe that we are victim to these cycles or to these planetary dynamics as much as they offer us a real soul's evolution, like a soul's jump. I said to Joshua the other day, we were chatting, I said to him, I feel like I'm in a master class. I think I said that to you, Joshua. And in a master class, it inherently is going to require us to step up our game. And here we are talking about 8-year-old children who can cook better than some adults. So the whole world is being asked to step up into their talents. And God bless the parents who allow these children to be able to take what little talent they show, and rather than trying to be fearful, oh, don't burn yourself, honey, or oh, you're not old enough to do that, they're letting them fly. It's awesome. Okay, Aquarius, let's see what the world is going to offer you. A deeper look into things as you begin something new and reach for the stars, which is your natural domain. You will be protected by God and the angels. So we saw Bridget in the foundational position, and she's being joined by the truth. Isaiah's being joined by Merlin. Aster's being joined by the Lady of the Lake, and Opal's being joined by the Perception card. Okay. So, Aquarius, again, I was just talking about Saturn and Uranus ruling your sign. And I kind of like, when I think of it, I put it in the little pie piece. So it seems a little tight with these two ringed planets hanging out together. But let me offer this. Saturn that rules fear and Uranus rules screw you and your fears. Pardon my language. So now at this time, as we see Saturn and Uranus starting to creep into that last square, I think this is time for you to dig deep. And I want to offer it this way, because I think when Uranus starts to connect to the electric part of the anxiety part of it, like I feel anxious, I think that's when inadvertently Aquarius is kind of looking to be part of the herd when they're really not a herd animal. You are a unique individual with your own unique ideas. And if you don't let yourself express them, at least to yourself, then you're going to find yourself feeling anxious and feeling, odd and alien. And so now this looking deeper into the truth is not a challenge. It's an opportunity to reap reward of who you are, because Isaiah is offering you a new beginning based on balance and alchemy and justice, a fair time for you to feel the benefit of your unique perception, because not only does Aquarius rule the stars, it's time for you to start to reach for them. And this is because you're willing to reach for your deeper truth. Years ago, when I was drawn to astrology and drawn to all things occult, really, I love the tarot. I love the idea that crystals are alive. All these mastering of different philosophies. I'm very much drawn to Native American culture and lore. And what I realized is that these things made me weird in comparison to the people around me. But then I was brave enough to say, do I want to be like the people around me, or do I want to be me? And that's where I think the real courage comes in for you, Aquarius. It's really your opportunity to dig deep and to start to ask yourself that, do I want to be accepted by that group? Because I'm not even sure that group, I like those people very much. And that's a little bit of this conflicting feeling of being a human right now, wanting to be part of a pack and then looking at the pack and saying, well, that pack isn't allowing me to be myself. Because in the final position is the Perception card and Opal. And now I want to say this, because I believe that we're not really children. We are children in a physical body because we're going through a process of evolution, but we're really souls. And we choose this physical experience so that we can adopt a perception in this life that speaks to our deeper truth. And I want to say it this way, because so many innovators were Aquarian. So many innovators had a stellium in Aquarius. And I would imagine that they probably felt pretty odd, but history doesn't remember them that way. History reveres them. So as you allow yourself to revere your uniqueness and your unique perception, you will inadvertently draw in a tribe that they don't have to agree with you, but they won't disagree with you. So I think for Aquarius to truly take advantage of the World card and to feel the reward is to trust a deeper truth of your uniqueness that brings in a sense of balance and alchemy and starts a new beginning that gives you the courage to really reach for the stars, because more and more of you are going to do that. More and more of all of us are going to do that. And as we find, we won't even find each other. We'll be drawn to each other. And as the laws of attraction bring us together, we are more influential over our own personal experience, and it gives us a trust in what we cannot see and that source energy provides as we align to our own deeper truth. That's the other thing about these kids on Master Chef. Ivy at 8 years old didn't have a lot of experience with I can't. She had a lot of experience with I can. She made it to the final 3, and dang, if I wanted her to be in the final 2 so badly, although I knew that the other 2 kids were going to get in there. And I just think that's beautiful. And now as adults, I want us to give ourselves permission to do the same thing. Okay? Oh, Joshua, thank you. You sound like small wildflowers. Gently smoosh that like button. That's her. So she does. Thank you for picking up the slack today. All right, here we go. Okay, Pisces. This is a beautiful card. This to me is Pluto in its best way, because here we have Neptune that has gone retrograde in your sign, and this is giving you an opportunity to rise like the phoenix. Neptune is not moving very quickly. You know, it's stationed for quite a while, and I think for almost 3 months it's going to stay at 25 degrees, if I remember correctly, all the way through August. 25 is the Taurian degree. And I think this is an opportunity for my Pisces to look at the dynamics of the Taurian degree. Am I using my voice? Am I using my talents, my artistic ability? Because now is a time to rise above the illusion and above any fantasy that disempowers you and allows you to now be a powerful co-creator in your own life. This is Archangel Gabriel blowing that horn. And I believe that Archangel Gabriel is blowing the horn that it's time for you to rise to your greatest potentials and to sort of maybe not give so much life to this story of yesteryear. Let's see. There we go. Celeste just popped out of the deck. A happy move to a new home or place of employment is in the works. Wild. That's fabulous. Joining Celeste is Aurora. And then we have Omega. And then we have Yvonne. Wow. Super yummy. At least I think so. You know, when I see Celeste, and even though she talks about a new home and a new place of employment, I always see it as the way I'm thinking. And because you can really put me anywhere on the planet in my physical body, and I'm not going to really change my belief system because I moved locations. So where is Celeste offering us new positive energy in our thought process as Pisces focuses on what they enjoy? And I want to offer this because Pisces, I believe, is a very creative sign. We don't really talk about it much. We talk about the ashrams and the hospitals and the research and mental hospitals and the challenging dynamics. But to play to the idea of fantasy and photography and creativity, I think is going to start to bring in this rising of the phoenix that's being offered for Pisces right now. Aurora is being joined by the mystery card. Omega is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. And Yvonne is being joined by the death card. And I want to offer this too because I believe that what this judgment card is saying is for Pisces to really focus in on the things that bring them joy. And I want to start with something small. This last week, Before I got the notice about the rent increase, I was having other challenges going on. And I got to tell you, I'm enjoying my fingernails lately. I'm enjoying going through Instagram, looking at nails, and then once a month going and having them done in a fancy way. And so I used my fingernails as a way to pull my focus into joy. Pisces, I really want you to pay attention to what brings you joy. I don't care if it's a big thing or a little thing. It could be your fingernails, your toenails, your new hair color. It could be that you sat down and you were coloring with a coloring book. I don't care, but it's a time to choose you, and it's a time to sort of start to lay the energetic groundwork for the rising of your phoenix. And this is a choice card, and this is an opportunity to truly inspire others, because your victory comes from being authentic to yourself and starting to take, I want to say, energetic action to do that. So what I'm doing is, the truth of the matter is, I want to feel the power of my own creation, because there's something very powerful going on for Pisces in the way of bringing out the more ancestral dynamics of what Pisces represents. Because ultimately for me, Pisces would represent reincarnation, when the body or when the soul leaves the body and gives itself an opportunity to reincarnate again, starting with Aries and the self. So how am I taking the idea of, if I am really an energetic being, and each physical incarnation is an opportunity for my soul to play in the physical and to marry the concepts of what I know when I'm out of body, that my thoughts are things, that I create things. And so now, rather than going under the illusion of the Neptunian waters being murky and not seeing, I'm more courageous to step into what my heart tells me, what I know on an intuitive level about myself. And now I'm vulnerable to my own transformation. And that's ultimately what this death card is, and what this judgment card is. It's an assimilation of energies that have not served, and gives us an opportunity to transmute into something new. So if Pisces has been feeling a little bit more down lately, or a little bit more vulnerable to the tides, then I think this is an opportunity for you to connect with spirit and say, I feel vulnerable to this at this moment. And thank you for giving me the signs and the omens and the bravery within my heart to speak to my truth. And in doing so, I'm going to take little baby steps and feel joy. And joy could be your fingernails. It could be going to the driving range and hitting some balls. It could be a box of popcorn and, a marathon of your favorite TV show. But just allowing yourself a privilege, because Pisces is a very, very sensitive sign. And I think inadvertently, when you connect to some of the more challenging dynamics right now, you may be connecting to the empath within you and really feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. And I don't want you to feel that. All right, let's go on to our Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Juan, are you still there? I know he is. He's lurking back there, taking notes. He'll pop in any minute and be, I'm here. But I haven't seen him in a minute. Okay, here we go. Hi, Teri. You're golfing right now. Fabulous. May you get a hole-in-one or lots of birdies. May you have a lovely round. Oh, I'm sorry, Juan. Sending good energy to you. Drink some water. Sometimes the headache, we're a little dehydrated. All right, let's look at the tarot card for Aries. This would be me. I'll say this right now. Worry, 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 worry. And you know what? There's not a lot to worry about. Those swords are all nicely placed up there on the wall. Nothing's hanging or looking like it's falling off. And if we look at the pillow, it is the power color of our solar plexus chakra. We have the pomegranates on that and the flowers. And then we have these little warriors, these little warring characters right here. Aries, this is a little bit of a time of worry. Now, let's just talk a little bit about the idea that your ruling planet is in the last stages of Aries, and the world is making us a little nervous right now. And as you your ruling planet moves into Taurus, it's going to make you focus in on physical security right now. I really think so. And so I want you to, as an Aries rising myself, I feel like it's really about digging deeper. I have an initial fear, and then I need to sort of not take action on that fear and sort of ask myself again, is that valid now, or am I projecting something into the future that will just not happen because I won't let it happen? That's the beautiful thing about Mars. All right, here we go. Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Mystique. Keep charging ahead. Don't expect miraculous solutions. There we have Rochelle, trusting your heart. And then we have Isabella. Yes, the timing is right. And then we have Francesca, faith over fear. Good one. All right. Mystique is being joined, Aries, by the Grail Knight. Rochelle is being joined by the Trust card. Isabella is being joined by the Spider. And Vanessa is being joined by the Cat. Well, thank you very much, Spirit, because this makes me feel better. Because I have been in a place of worry. And I know worry doesn't serve me, but sometimes the imprint on the brain, you can't help yourself, right? So here we go. Mystique says to keep charging ahead. Expect miraculous solutions. And Aries, this is about being the peaceful warrior and bowing down to the truth, the sacred truth of who you are. So often Aries gets that, I'm impulsive and I'm, going to just kind of, I kind of think of Aries. Sometimes people think they just pop off, and yes, it's possible. But as a seasoned Aries, paying attention to our astrology, we know that doesn't have to be the dominant energy, because Aries, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, trusting your heart, everything you need will come to you in the form of the Spider. The network of people you need, the resources you need, and whatever you need will come, and it will stick into that web. Because now is a time to take it up a notch. Are you going to base your decisions on faith or fear? And this is a card of independence. And it's interesting to me because Aries loves to be independent, but it also wants to be connected. And it's an interesting way to say it, because when I say connected, I kind of think of the pioneer that's willing to go and break ground for the other settlers as they move across the country. So there's a part of Aries that's a very hero energy. So as I play to the hero, I become more aware that I have more than one life. And the only way I'm going to thrive in that life and feel independent and feel healthy is my faith in a bigger picture. And the bigger picture is my focus. My thoughts are things. And I don't want you to think of it this way, because the human will tell you, oh my God, I have to think perfect all the time. And if I don't think perfect, the shit's going to hit the fan. No, that's not true. Spirit is understanding of the wobble, okay? And within the wobble, there is power. The power of awareness. And within that awareness, it's kind of like a planet starting to go retrograde to review. You have a lot of power as it stations in its awareness. And in doing so, then this kind of plays to me this week. I took a big dip in my vibration. I got really, really scared. And I can't tell you, I'm not done being scared. But I feel more faith in myself than I feel fear in myself. So when I walk through this, and if you on the other side think I don't ever worry about anything, then you do. Now you know I do. And so it isn't about mastering these concepts. It's about persevering and continuing to apply them until they become a new default energy, a new imprint on the muscle of our brain. So persevere, Aries. When you see your worry, pay attention to it. And in the way of, is this real right now, or am I projecting into the future? Because I do think that we are going to feel especially here in the United States and maybe in places like the Ukraine, we feel this an assault upon us and on our homeland and on our security. And maybe it's not fair of me to compare the United States to the Ukraine, because the Ukraine is literally in war right now. So I know that experience must be, 20 million times more scary and more present. But I feel that there is a crescendo of anger, and that this idea of war is on the table for everyone. And now I think that Spirit is asking those of a Martian energy to be of a more intentional, and to, rather than war with a sword, to use the idea that the sword represents our thoughts. And as we align our thoughts into balance, then we keep charging ahead. We bring that into our experience and we represent a new potential of momentum. Whew, okay. Let's go on to Taurus. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I just gave myself anxiety. I don't even know why. I just got a big bubble of anxiety. Bam, hit me in the chest. All right. Oh, Taurus, look, we have the Lovers. Isn't that fun? Most people love to see the Lovers card. It isn't what you think it is, babes. This is Gemini. This is choice of lover, choice of how am I going to play this? Most of these angels, or the angels that sit above in the tarot deck, are Archangel Gabriel. And here we see Archangel Gabriel again. And when I see this, I feel like this is about being vulnerable to my choices, and not the choices I've made, but the choices I'm going to make. As we see Mars go into Taurus, we are going to see it heading towards Uranus and the North Node. That's going to be a combination at the end of the, deep breath. And this is why I feel like it's so important to be aware of our choices right now. Because though, if we take all the highest vibrations of Mars, the North Node, and Uranus, that could be a beautiful conjunction. We take the lower and we're scared to death. Ba-boom! So let's see what Spirit has to say for Taurus. Jules, that's pretty powerful stuff going on there. Pretty powerful stuff. 19th degree is the Libra degree. 18th degree is the Virgo degree. So we've got that going on. Oh, I know. Yeah. This is why consciousness is so important, because I think our consciousness, the other day, what a week I had. I feel like it's been weeks since I've talked to you guys. The other day, Lucky and I, this must have been before my meltdown, because I just remember it that way. Lucky and I are walking down the street, and there's two people coming towards us with two dogs. And we kind of were giving them a little bit of birth. And then at the same time, there was another guy coming down the street, and he was, I don't know if he was homeless, but he appeared homeless. And he was angry, and he was screaming obscenities and yelling and flailing his arms around. And, the two people with the other dog walked away, and I thought, okay, he's kind of walking towards them. And I was very aware of my energy, because I didn't want to look at him the wrong way, to be honest with you. I didn't want to just categorize him as crazy. So what I did was, I'm like, where's my vibration and my law of attraction with this guy right now? I somehow attracted him to be walking down the street while I'm walking down the street. Now, what's the 2.0 version of that? And I felt like it's about remaining calm during the crazy. Remain calm during the crazy. So what happens is Lucky stops to pee. I think he's walking this way. Oh, good, he's going the other way. And then he turns and he walks right by us again. And this time, he's not that far from me. And the whole time, I'm just like sending this guy calm energy. He's still yelling and screaming, but he's not paying any attention to us. And I felt really aware in that moment that he sort of represented the world. And I felt like I was, in my awareness, insulating me from his energy. I hope all that made sense, because I think this is what a little bit of Taurus right now. Making a choice of kind of, this is, when I take this on the Gemini level, making a choice of how do I want to perceive what I'm thinking, what I'm experiencing, what I'm reading, who's around me, how that plays out in my experience. Okay. Our first angel for Taurus is Maya, schooling and education, energetic. Then we then we have Rochelle, you're learning how to follow your heart. Then we have Patience, which is about synthesizing information. And then we have Caressa, you're at the end of a life cycle, new happiness awaits you. Taurus being a fixed sign, it doesn't shift easily. It goes a little bit, that Taurus, that bullish energy has a little bit of a slowness, I guess, to it, and a steadiness to it. And so what I'm wondering here as we move forward, Maya is teaching us about our choice of lovers, of friends, of partnerships. And I also think that potentially this could be about Maya teaching you, Taurus, I have a Taurus moon, to liberate your heart from any restraints that have been put on it. Because Mars rules truth. So here we have Maya teaching Taurus about their fears and the focus of their fears. And are you willing to turn that fear into something else? Because it's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. So that's Let It Go from the movie Frozen. And I want to offer this too, because I really think music and a powerful playlist, meaning one that really gets to you. Like, I love the song Defying Gravity. I love BB Rexha's song from Maleficent #2. I can't remember the name of that right now. I like a lot of the songs from Frozen and some of the Disney stuff. I kind of resonate with Moana a little bit, when she goes to the water. Because I want to say this, a playlist may help Taurus align. Music would make sense to me, because Taurus, it's time to honor and follow the guidance of your heart and your truth, because Patience is giving you an opportunity to blossom out of whatever energies you may be inadvertently stuck in. Okay. And this is where Caress is ending a life cycle. And that life cycle is where you're edging God out because you're stuck in your story. We know this Taurus naturally rules our family history. We look at Saturn for history of mankind, but we look at Taurus for our family history, as it is ruling the second from the fourth, however that works. So I want to offer it this way, because I believe that there is an opportunity for Taurus to, when Mars comes into that conjunction, a lot of people are just going to kind of explode. But I think this is an opportunity for the conscious Taurus to create a sense of security beyond the Earth experience, because I think this is an opportunity to harness the Geminian energy of choice. The lovers is a choice. You choose a partner. You choose a trajectory of your life. If you live with an alcoholic, you're going to live an alcoholic experience. If you live with somebody who's very religious, you're going to live in a religious experience. So this is why this is so important. And there's a vulnerability here to your choices, because if you bet on you instead of what appears to be secure, will you win? And that's what God's trying to tell you. Don't edge me out. Don't edge source energy out, because if an energy closes, if a chapter closes, then something more aligned to your truth is about to open up. And what I think this is not in the material. I think it's your fears. I think it's you're projecting your sense of security or your sense of viability out into the future. I've been doing that all week. And when I go down to it at the end of the day, I realize a lot of my fears are a little bit of an imprint on me. And I feel like part of me is acting them out. I'm not sure they're real. Like, there's a weird thing inside of me. Like, I should be scared, but I'm not. But I am, but I'm not. But I am, but I'm not. That's what I feel like. Hello. All right, let's look at our final sign, Gemini. We have the Ace of Pentacles. This is the infusion of something in the material world coming into your place. And I can't help but look at this lately, and I see that little pathway into the secret garden. Now we're talking about Gemini, the idea of thought. And we talk about Gemini leaving its natural sign of Gemini and moving into Cancer. And I want to offer it this way because it's going to be in Cancer a very short period of time before it goes into Leo. But I think those first couple of weeks are going to be really powerful for Gemini in being aware of their sense of security. I can't help but think, Cancer represents home and hearth. And while it was in Gemini, it might have been thinking about a lot of things, but now there's going to be a strong focus on the things that are happening in all things represented by Cancer. It could be the oceans, it could be my property, it could be meaning my home, my residence, my country, the very way I nurture myself. So I want to offer that as Gemini thinks that all resources will be provided, that you kind of have the keys to the kingdom, keys to the secret garden. Let's do our final reading. Because again, I want to offer Jupiter is stationing. And in that slowing down of the planet of beliefs and the planet of expansion, I don't necessarily thinking it's going to stop expansion as much as I think it's going to make us revisit what we believe about ourselves and about our abilities to co-create, our abilities to bring what we want from the conceptual into the material. Our first angel is Mystique for our Geminis. The second is Vanessa, faith or fear. The third is Rochelle, your heart. And the final is Archangel Michael. We talk a lot about the laws of attraction, but one of the most slippery slopes around the law of attraction is a law of allowing, because we ask to attract certain situations. Oh, dear God, I hate my job. I want a new job. I want a new job. And then a new job presents itself, and we are put in a quandary of what we know we will get and what we don't know. And that's where the real rubber meets the road, and we have to bet on ourselves, because spirit can only do so much. So Mystique says to keep charging ahead, to expect miraculous solutions. And now it's about making a choice to start to focus in on the abundance coming in, because I really think that this is about a mental process. Remember, I said earlier in the broadcast that I think that the biggest challenging planet these days is Mercury, honestly, because not only does it rule our monkey mind, it rules all the monkey mind information coming at us that we have to process and find a truth through. So Vanessa's being joined by the bee, Rochelle is being joined by the dragon, and Archangel Michael is being joined by the stag. So Gemini, as you are aware of your being energy, what do I believe? That is our point of attraction, because those beliefs create our thoughts, and those thoughts come out of our mouth. And so Spirit is saying, are you aware? Are you basing your decisions on faith or fear? And now here it comes. The best way to manifest is a cool heart, is being able to step in that heart chakra and say, I don't know where it's coming from. I have no idea, but it's on its way. And all I get to do is align to receiving it, because Archangel Michael is here. And he represents protection, but he's asking you to be brave, Gemini, in taking courage, in having the ability to take a new direction. And that new direction is starting to think about the percentage of your thoughts. Am I perceiving things are slipping down slower and slower? The money is going away. My health is going away. I'm vulnerable to everybody and everything out there. And I have to tell you, the world is supporting that. This last weekend, I've seen a lot of alternative US flags flying around. And I'm kind of concerned that this 4th of July is going to be different than any other 4th of July, and people really thinking about, do I love my country? Because it doesn't feel very loving right now. And so I say all these things because Gemini rules the monkey mind, and it's just, we all have our challenges. So I don't want you to give in to that. I want you to start to think, is any of this true? Because if I'm courageous enough to keep my focus on what I want to experience, and I start to really be in a place of faith and do my best to sit in my heart chakra and be calm. I love the pride flags. I don't know about those other flags. I'm a little nervous about the other flags, if you get my drift. because now is a time to show courage in your ability to stand in leadership for your own version of yourself, Gemini, and what you want. And in this way, I think that's very powerful, because we get to, Gemini is so powerful because I just don't think astrologers think about how much Gemini runs from one sign to another, giving information and not always double checking if that information is factual. It runs our everyday lives, our roads, our escalators, our teammates, our workmates, our cooperative relationships at 40 hours a week. So when we start to give life to the idea that there's something new coming, and it's a bit of a secret garden, and it, in the sense of we must walk the path of trusting that the divine will provide. And here we go again. The miraculous solutions are alignment to a bigger thought. And that's represented by my faith in myself, to believe that when I remain calm and I come from my heart, Spirit starts to bring signs and omens, and then I get to stand in leadership and really, yeah, Lucy Rose, and really in this respect, let my fears be subsided. And I don't think they'll be completely subsided, but they'll start to transform. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, you guys. And while we can spin it both ways, I'm preferring to take these planets and these aspects and sort of push them up to a higher vibration, and to see the divinity in disruption, even my own personal disruption. So I sort of put you all on task there. Okay, we're going to move forward. Next week, we're going to have a full moon in Capricorn. That's going to be super powerful. And as we walk through July, guys, we're going to see it get hotter and hotter and hotter. So how do we want to walk through that? Wear your flip-flops, do everything you can to remain cool and calm, and keep your eye on your own personal prize. And in doing that, you send a ripple effect. Okay. Oh, Lauren K. Okay. So the readings are done if anybody wants to leave the room. If you would like to take advantage of this next 2 days and purchase a 45-minute reading for the price of a half hour, you get to go to and send me an email, and I will send you the information on how to send the fee to my PayPal account directly. Also, I'm doing a webinar on the 16th. We're going to look at the planet's influence on the South Node, which is going to be reflective of how we have felt as a soul moving forward. The early bird special before the 7th of July is $19.99. After that, it will be $29.99. And you can purchase the first webinar if you haven't already done that as well for $29.99. And if you have any questions at all, give me send me a text if you're in the US. The phone number is below in the description. And if you're international, send me an email. And if for some reason you don't get to put your payment in, but you have let me know because it is a holiday, and I said midnight on July 4th, I'm not going to be awake at midnight. But if your email comes in before July 4th midnight that you want to purchase a reading, I will honor it. But I'm not making any other side deals about it. So we'll go from there. And then payment will be expected post haste on the 5th, after if you need an invoice. I hope all that made sense, guys. Thank you so much, everybody. I want to send love out to Juan and to Small Wildflowers. They're always such the beautiful pillars of strength for me and support to this tribe. I thank you all for coming and for being part of the movement towards peace and harmony and cooperation and compassion. And I'll see you next week, everybody. Peace.